So the stuff I'm going to be telling you today is pretty basic. So if you are a beginner on Pointe or are about to get your first pair of Pointe shoes, that's awesome. Congratulations. If you know a little bit more about Pointe or have been on Pointe for a few years, that's still great. This is still going to be an informational video, and I think you're still going to like it. But again, basic stuff. This is a Pointe shoe. These were my first ones. They're not new like the ones in this picture, but they have given me lots of dance memories, and I still treasure them. Like these shoes, your first pair of Pointe shoes will be treasured for hopefully the rest of your life. They are very special to me, and I wouldn't give them up for the world. I really do want to do a separate video completely devoted to fitting and what you should wear and what to expect, but I'm just going to skip over that and go to after your Pointe shoe fitting. After my Pointe shoe fitting, my very first Pointe shoe fitting, I got these, right? And I took them home, and I wasn't allowed to sew them yet because we were going to sew them in class. But what I really wanted to do was quickly sew them, put them on, dance around in them in my kitchen, and just do all sorts of crazy stuff so that when I came to my first Pointe class, I would be ready and strong and all that stuff. That's not a really good idea, and so I didn't do that, but yeah, don't do that because you could hurt yourself, because if you haven't had a Pointe class before, then you don't know how to do anything because your teacher hasn't taught you. And so what you're going to probably want to do is go home right after you get them, sew them really fast, dance around in them, and then you're going to break something. So yeah, don't do that. Wait till your teacher has taught you some stuff, and then you can bring that stuff home, but still be very careful while you're playing around at home. Playing around at home is great, and it's good practice. I mean, playing around isn't probably the best word for it, but it is good practice. And if you don't do Pointe very often, or like maybe once a week for an hour or less, then it's probably best to do a little bit of stuff at home so that you stay fresh. But yeah, be careful. The next thing I want to talk to you about is store or online. So you may go online and look at a pair of Pointe shoes that'd be like $60, but in the store they're like $85. So you may think, well, the online is a better option. Unless you get a fitting first and see like the exact pair of Pointe shoes that are gonna be perfect for you, don't get them online. I would suggest going to a Pointe shoe fitting and getting your first pair at the store that you get your fitting at, because like sizes range a lot depending on what kind of Pointe shoes you get, and they are very far from your street size usually. So Pointe shoe fittings are really helpful. If you just say, well, I'm size 8.5 regular in street shoes, and then you get an 8.5 online, it's probably going to be way too big or way too small, usually way too big. So yeah, save online for your second, third, fourth pair of Pointe shoes, but just don't guess on sizes. Just get a fitting first and just make sure. But if it has been a pair of Pointe shoes that you've gotten previously and you know that they work for you and you want to order them online, then that totally works. For padding, there are like lots of different options. You got your Ouch Pouch Juniors, your Pro Pads, your gel caps, your lamb's wool, and then you've got this toe savers padding where you can put wherever you want in your Pointe shoe, and then you've got your toe tape. Padding is pretty important when it comes to Pointe shoes, especially when you're starting out, because you haven't formed calluses on your feet, and so it's going to hurt really bad. My first ever Pointe shoe padding was lamb's wool. I started out with that because my teacher said that if I started with that, then I'd form calluses a lot easier, and then it wouldn't hurt as much. So I started with that and realized I was not getting calluses very fast, and it was hurting really bad. So I bought these Leo's gel toe padding, and you technically weren't allowed to wear those. I never wore them in class, however, because she said not to, so I didn't. I just did it at home. So yeah, I really didn't like these. I think I wore them like twice at home, and then I decided I was never using them again. They were the cheapest, so that's why I got these ones, because these ones are horrible. when I was on point, I couldn't feel where I was. I felt super unsteady because like when you're on point, you should like feel it, and I didn't feel it. I didn't feel like my toes were pushing up against anything. And so I didn't know really where I was standing, so I was really wobbly, and I ended up twisting my ankle. So yeah, stopped using those ones. Then, your second year of Pointe, they let you wear whatever padding you want, preferably lamb's wool pads, which are like lamb's wool, but they're like in the form of like a toe pad like these. I didn't get those, however. I got ouch pouches, and I really like those. Those are what I'm using now, and they are the Ouch Pouch Juniors. There are also the Pro Pad ouch pouches, which are like this, but they're tan colored. They're like this, and the back of them has no padding. It's just a thin layer of fabric, and then the top of it is padding. So I forgot to tell you, when I was wearing lamb's wool, I was getting really bad blisters when I switched from Morellas to Freeds. And so my teacher told me to cut off the end of a sock for a little blister guard, just so it would feel nicer, and the inside of the point shoe would be rubbing this instead of rubbing off the skin of my toes. As far as tape goes, your options are like this waterproof tape. This one is from Curad, and it just rips pretty easily like that. And then you've got your average like cloth medical tape. And then the tape that I showed you, the Bunheads tape, like, and then there's tape that's like actually for point shoes, and then you've got like just Band-Aids. I use those. Those are really nice to cover up your blisters. Next, I wanted to talk to you about darning. So darning is when the end of the platform of the box is that you cut off the outside fabric and then you stitch around it. I have a few pictures, I think. Yeah, I'll try to put up some pictures right here. There's lots of different ways to darn your point shoes, but if you don't darn them, they end up looking like this, and so, yeah. The main reason people darn their point shoes is so that you have an awareness of where proper alignment is. When you stitch around it, there's like this little like ropey feeling, and so you have a little bit bigger of a platform, and so you can tell right where you are, so you're not going too far over or too far back. It also prevents like when the platform frays, it doesn't fray because there's no fabric there. So the next one I want to talk to you about is dead point shoes. So if you're on your first pair of point shoes, then it's probably already evident to you that they don't die very quickly, because you're not dancing on them very often, unless you have like 4 classes a week and 4 hours a class on point. They're probably gonna die pretty slowly, so they probably won't look like this for a while. You might even be able to wear them a whole year. So for me, my first pair of point shoes died after probably like 7 hours of dancing on them, because I have issues. So that, I'll talk to you more about that later in a different video. But usually, like, my friend's first pair of point shoes just died, and she's had them like all year. So you may, depending on your feet strengths and flexibilities, they may die closer to 6 months, closer to a year, but the normal amount of time that you're able to wear your point shoes is 12 to 20 hours. That's like full on dancing on them, not like just wearing them. A great way to make the point shoes last longer is to jet glue them, or to point shoe glue them, or hot stuff glue them. Just use any kind of point shoe glue that you want. Here are a few. There's point shoe glue and the instant jet glue that I use. I also have a YouTube video on how to do that. It's great, and you should check it out. I'll try to link it below. But yeah, that's cool too. You can totally do that, and it makes them stronger when they're dying, or you can do it before they start dying, just so that you don't get a massive buildup of dead point shoes. Okay, well, I think that's it. I don't have anything more for you, but I do want to post a lot more Pointe shoe and ballet videos on my channel, so check out my channel. It's going to be great, and thank you so much, guys, for watching and for subscribing, because that really helps me keep going and posting more videos, so the more subscribers I have, the merrier. Okay, well, thanks, guys. I'll see you later. Bye!